by having two men removed to make the women act more. You know what? Yeah, I was thinking kind of something along those lines too. Although I didn't mind, honestly, the men that left, I really didn't mind. I will say that, and we're going to get to that too. I want you guys to weigh in the chat about whether or not they made the right choices as to the two men that left this week. Yay! Hey, there's Ravine, one of our 18 members. Yay, Ravine! Yes, 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 yes. Um, and Ray. Roro has some things to say to Shalana. I think she's saying that facetiously. And Cool Gamer's in the house. I haven't seen you in a long time, Cool Gamer. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Let me go ahead and get started. You guys can read the rest of the comments. We'll come back and but we're going to get started with the little notes here. So we know that this week the ladies. We open up with the ladies in the ladies' lounge with Tommy, Uncle Nephew Tommy, advising them. He wants them to express their doubts with the men. Uncle Tommy compliments the ladies in their beautiful choices of color. Each one of them looked gorgeous. It was a definite fashion show. I enjoyed all the women. I thought all the women were beautiful. What about you, Kimberly? What about you, JR?
Oh, yes, I agree. The ladies look good. They really are putting their good looks on, the hair, makeup, and just the wardrobe all together, I think looks good. So they seem to get along well, for the most part, except what we saw towards the end.
Right,
But
right, right. But for this scene, they all
yes,
seem to have gotten along. If you
it
know what we
very
saw
well.
very well. And what about you, JR? What were your thoughts about the fashions, the ladies, and Uncle Tommy?
Yeah, everybody's looking good. And I'm not surprised by that because everybody is trying to lock down their connections, and you're trying to put your best foot forward to leave a lasting impression, I guess, right? Even though you've been meeting for dates and stuff throughout the last 6 episodes, which I don't know how much time that is in their recording time, but
Mm-hmm.
like they're still putting in the effort to look good and impress on the dates, and I would expect nothing less because they're trying to, some of them are trying to lock down connections that already have connections with other people. So
Mm-hmm.
it starts with looking good and feeling good first, and then hopefully you project your best self when you go into the dates.
Oh, okay. Yes, I do agree. I do agree. And I think there's some alliances. Okay, we got another one of our panelists pop in there. Hey there, Ron. How's it going?
Good. I'm gonna mute for a second. So just,
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. Jump in when you're ready. Okay, so yeah, I agree with you, JR. Back to what you were saying that this is definitely the time because we're still in the early days of dating, right? They're still in the early phase. They're still getting to know one another. They're still checking each other out. So it's still a good time to, like you said, put that best foot forward. And speaking of best foot forward, we see Phil and Eris meet up for a what I call a grown folks date. We see him bring her beautiful dozen of roses bouquet. They're both dressed to impress. They sit down to talk, and the conversation is really flowing. There's no hemming and hawing, because Eris goes into, after the preliminary, she goes into asking Phil, what does he think about her having, two kids? And he says, hey, you know what? I wanted to create a family. I wanted more children. So if I, with my one, would marry you with your two, then guess what? We got three kids, and they don't all have to be created from scratch. What did you guys think about that, Kimberly? What did you think about that? Their
I
date.
thought it was very thoughtful, but for some reason, I was thinking Aries wanted at least one more child. But the way he led it, it was like, "Hey, we're done with the three." But I think it's good. I think it's good for the man to lead and, have those conversations and, really give his side of things because a lot of times we do look to the man to be the provider. So only he knows what he can really handle, even if the dads are present in the life, or the mom is present and helping financially. Still, if they're living in the household, a lot of that responsibility is going to fall on the man. So he needs to speak up.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking too. So I didn't have a problem with him saying that, and it didn't sound like he was putting his foot down. It may be something that once things move along a little further in the progression of them dating and actually getting serious, they could probably still discuss maybe one more. If that's something
Hmm.
that she wants to do with having two children. One I think is 11, I believe I heard her say, and 13. So they've kind of moved into the older kid stage where they're getting ready for high school and college. But, hey, she's still young enough and they want to do that, then they can do that. If they actually do
Yes.
get married, that could be something. Thank you for that, Kimberly. JR, what are you thinking about the date?
Really like this date. Great date. They seem to connect very well. Uh, I liked the mature conversation they were having. There were, uh, moments of, um, you know, um, chaos or any type of back and forths or anything. It was all positive, and he wasn't pressed when she was asking him questions, expressing her concerns, which the task was. And I think he did a good job of alleviating her fears that she may have had, reassured her, and I like their connection. I really think that this is one that I hope goes a long way. He's largely been out of the main body of filming because I don't
Mhm.
necessarily think he's got a lot of connections, but this connection with Aries, I think it's a very good one. Considering what we have with some of the other castmates at this moment, I really like this couple. I like the way he also bought the flowers. I also like how um, at the end of the date, he walked her to her car and they shared a couple of kisses and an embrace and everything like that. So yeah, like thumbs up on this date. This is why I watch Ready to Love, because I want to see more dates like this.
Exactly. Yes, yes. And I love what you said. Thank you for that, JR. It was very from beginning to end. I mean, the fact that he was a gentleman, walked her to her car, they kissed, they embraced, and all the while, this whole scene, I felt this was genuine. Now, if later on I'm always open to being corrected, guys, and you will correct me. You'll come into the chat, you'll come into the comment section of the video later and you will tell me. So I'm open to correction, but I felt while watching this, and I've watched it at least 2-3 times, I felt that it was very genuine and it was very grown up. In fact, indeed, you know. Ron, if you're able to chime in, jump in, and if not, we'll come back around to you later. Um,
I could chime in.
oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, like I said, I like the fact that he was talking about the phone action that to be on the phone a couple hours. Like I said, most of
Mhm.
the love connections on Ready to Love happens on the phone. It ain't these pre-made dates that y'all be seeing on TV. That's the really the
Mm-hmm.
aftermath of the phone. You're gonna fall in love between your ears on this show because that's the most time you're gonna spend with the person is on the phone. So
Mhm.
I definitely like that part, which led to them being comfortable enough to get a couple. I think there was genuine kisses in at the end of the date. Uh, feels for me.
I'm sorry, what was that last part?
I'm interested to see once the novelty wears off of this. Then I want to go back to them two kids and see how really excited you are to blend those families together. So
Mhm.
hopefully she's financially good, and all that stuff's in stable position. But you're adding two more kids. You probably as a man didn't think you were going to be added on to a situation. Once, like I said, the novelty wears off and the show thing wears off, it gets real, and those are real issues that go on, real things that men think about.
Mhm.
Right, right. Yeah, you're right. You got a good point. You got a very good point there. Um, and so let's see, back over here to the notes. Um, let's see. And also one last thing, guys, I want to ask you guys this. Just chime in if you have any thoughts. If not, we'll move on. What did you guys think? Because this is the first time I heard that Aries has actually been divorced twice. So, I kind of thought immediately of Brandon, who had been divorced twice, although it was from the same woman, right? I didn't hear anything like that from her. So I take it was two separate men, which is kind of more common than not. Anyone have any thoughts about her being divorced twice? As it relates to dating. Go ahead.
I think on the face of it, it may sound to some people like maybe that's one divorce too much or whatever, but I think that it really depends on how long ago it was and how, if she's still emotional or hurt or angry or anything about the situation and carrying it into the new dating experience on the show. She doesn't seem to be doing that. So I can only assume that she's just being forthright, honest, open, and vulnerable by revealing it. And Phil doesn't seem to care. So, like I said, on the face of it, it may seem like a lot. To me personally, it may be too much. I would probably want to know more, even though I don't want to hear all the details. But She did also say that she left the last relationship. So that's okay. I would probably have questions. Okay, why did you choose to leave? You've got a couple kids and you're married already. Why would you want to leave the second one? But we don't know the circumstances, so I can't prejudge that. But yeah, it would be a lot. I can understand why some people would say that. And Brandon went home for the same reason.
Right. He had been divorced twice. Right.
Exactly. So there is I would say some people might think there's a double standard, but I think that Brandon was clearly affected by what he had been through in terms of his marriage / divorce more, because he was leading with it, and he also was emotional at times as well. So even though the divorce may have happened a year or whatever before, or 6 months or whatever it was, he seemed to lead with it more, whereas Aries has had conversations nothing to do with her previous marriages. We're only finding that out now in episode 6. So
right, she like, I'm gonna keep this in my back pocket for a hot minute.
Yeah, you don't have to. This is what I was saying about Brandon. You revealed a lot very early, and now you're gonna find yourself off the show because it's too much. I thought he would have stuck around because of eye candy purposes, but clearly the ladies thought that situation was too much. I don't think the guys necessarily think the same way, because they come with a level of expectation that, okay, even if you have had 2 divorces, you're on the show, so you're trying again.
Right.
Yeah. 6 months killed him. Brandon shouldn't have said anything about. He said 6 months. That's a scary number coming on the show, because we sit around for 6 months waiting after you got picked and stuff, waiting for production. So to us as a cast, 6 months sounds like 6 weeks. It sounds real soon. But I don't know. Me personally, as somebody, I got to see what the divorces was. If one of them was early, I mean, like in the 20s, maybe. But if they're been back to back, kind of, I'm gonna run on that situation, because what I do kind of know is, I know all these women think that all this one special man is the man in shining armor and stuff like that. But whatever I've known from meeting thousands and thousands of men is that we're not that much different from each other. And if you done ran from 2 men, or 2 men that ran from you, and I know that men ain't that much different from each other, from all the men that she would date or talk to, and that's, an educated ram to talk to her, then I'm gonna have a red flag on that, because it's And that, yeah, I just
Wow.
kind of leave it at that.
Yeah, I want to add something. That's a very good point, Ryan. You bring up some excellent points, and definitely from the male perspective. I want to say this though. I watched just the other day. I watched what's his name, Brandon, on Crystal XO. Shout out to Crystal XO and her great reviews or interviews that she's been doing this season. So I watched that, and in the interview, it made much more sense. Of course, when he's got time to answer it and be more thoughtful, he actually had been. They had been. He and his ex-wife had been separated for over a year when they got the divorce. Divorce was only 6 months, but they hadn't been together for a year and a half. So I thought, well, you know what? If he had put it like that, I think it would have made a lot more sense to the ladies. They could have looked at, okay, maybe he has truly separated emotionally from this woman and they're just co-parenting. But because he said, oh, it's just 6 months, like, What are your thoughts, Kimberly?
I agree with you all. I just always said that Brandon said too much too soon. And then I
Yes.
don't think it was
Yeah.
just the 6 months. I think it was also the 4 children. That's a bit much too. I
Yep.
don't think it's so bad that he had been married to the same woman twice. It shows that he was kind of willing to try. But in my mind, I always think when people are divorced, you always separate for a period of time. So I would be surprised that the women missed that. But I am side-eyeing the people now because they were so quick to send him home. But now what are we going to do with Aries? Are the men just going to accept it when the women didn't? So I'm just looking forward to seeing how this plays out.
Mm.
Right. Wes has got something to say about this whole thing too. Wes says that sometimes lying is the best course of action.
Oh no.
Oh, dear.
Wes from Stay Tuned Reviews. He's a mess. Guys, if you haven't, you got to go over and catch Wes over at Stay Tuned Reviews. He is an excellent reviewer. He is funny as heck. And you know what he is? He just keeps you laughing the whole time. So definitely go over and check out that channel. Yes, yes, yes. What did Robo says? He probably did say it, and it was edited. Yeah, you know what? It very well may have been, but I guess I'm gonna have to side with the emotional intelligence of Jr. Basically saying that it was way too soon on the first night out at the mixer to be giving that information away. That's what I'm gonna say. I think that if he hadn't said it, there would be nothing for them to edit. And certainly with his I think everybody agreed that Brandon was very physically attractive, sounded articulate, seemed to be together in every sense of the word, but just the information that he gave, I think he gave it a little bit too soon. Monique King, the extraordinary Monique King, says too much way too soon. Poor Brandon. Yeah. So anyway, we digress. We're going to move forward here. So we see Sierra and Chris 2.0 meet up for a date, and calamity immediately ensues. At dinner, Sierra says that she wants to get deeper, and then she asks him if he has any insecurities. He says that he has none. I say what? You have none? But then he proceeds to give her his resume of almost being a doctor, of being a New York model. And then she turns to him and she says, I like Birkin bags that cost $50,000. And then Chris, he is not with it and says, what will she do if he doesn't buy her this $50,000 bag? You guys take it from me because I can't with these two. They just, both of them are a mess.
Yeah.
Come on, JR. I know you got some thoughts about this situation because this just seems silly to me.
Well, yeah, I think he clearly does have insecurities, and it's obviously about spending that type of money on a woman, right? And don't fault her for.
Well, I can't say. Excuse me, one half second. I can't say I blame him. There is no way $50,000 on a stupid handbag when you can buy a whole car or put toward a college education or put down on a house. I'm with him on that. But go ahead.
No, I agree with you. That's exactly what I would have that concern too. Like I'll be like, why are you dropping that on our first date that you want a 50K bag? That's crazy.
Right.
But what I'm trying to say is he was all he had himself together up until that point, and then that turned out to be a sore spot for him. And then I think I gave her a bit of grace because she's from the fashion world. She's a fashion designer and things like that. So maybe a Birkin bag is something that she is accustomed to having. So that automatically puts them at a place where they're not going to be aligned. They're not going to be a good match, because if she wants to be lavished in that way, I'm not saying she did say that, but for her to drop that comment, it may have been a joke, but I think there was an element of truth to that joke as well. She probably was fishing to see if he was the type of guy that would say, yeah, don't worry, I can get you a Birkin. But he clearly isn't. And then when we go to what his response was, I can understand why he made those comments as well. You know, okay, so if I couldn't buy you the bag because I had a rough year or whatever, would you leave? And she didn't like that type of questioning, right? Because it made her seem like she's materialistic, or she's, you know, she's a gold digger and she's out as soon as the money's dry or whatever. But, you know, this date fell apart very quickly after that interaction.
Yeah, it absolutely did. I like what I think I really have to agree that she may have been joking, but she came off as materialistic. Absolutely, Kirby. That's what I got out of it. And then when push came to shove, she says, "Well, I can buy my my own bag, and I got my own bag, and I got my own money." But then why are you bringing it up on this date? And then I guess my question is too: aren't we supposed to be learning about each other? Like, aren't we supposed to be talking about our doubts? So is your biggest doubt in life whether a person can afford to buy you a material good that you claim to be able to afford yourself? So why are we talking about that? Why aren't we talking about something more substantive than a $50,000 bag? Because to me, maybe it's where I said I got old fogey, old fashioned ways, but that's just bull crap. That's just bull crap. I mean, like, if I'm a high class call girl, and that's what I want to talk about, or if I'm somebody's sugar baby, and that's what I want to talk about. But I thought we were talking about actually building a relationship. So I don't know, Ron. What are your thoughts about these $50,000 bags? I know you probably have bought several $50,000 bags in your day.
No bag. Not really a bag. Period. Like he was looking at her like, what in the world? He got triggered because any guy would have got triggered because they're like, this girl got to be delusional off the fact that the people who get bags, expensive bags, the women for men, look way better. I'm just gonna keep it real.
I was thinking
they look way better. So like, he's looking like how nerve you have, or B, they got together with the guy and they helped build it with him. So therefore, you know, you're 10 years, 5 years and stuff. Now you can have whatever you want, boo. You know what I mean? You can help build this up with me and stuff like that. But if she wants a bag from a man, I'm going to be perfectly honest with her. That man ain't going to look like Chris. That man going to be 5'6" with a chubby gut and older and all. He ain't going to look like this. Guys like this don't buy you bags, girl. You damn near need to buy him a bag.
You understand market value? You're looking across the table at Chris, and then Chris is looking back across the table at you. And I'm not trying to throw any kind of, shade on either of them, but I mean, clearly, look at him, look at her, okay? And then in this marketplace that we are now in now as women, when there are 10, 15 women to every man, really, I'm sorry, that's just not. Are you looking for marriage? Or are you just looking for a come up? Because if you're looking for a come up, this clearly isn't with it, right?
Yeah, and then I hate it when they do that move where, oh no, now all of a sudden, oh, I can buy my own. No, that's that dry bag move like that women do when I can get my own steak and dinner and this, I can eat at this place, but then do it. Like, don't tell me about it. Like, yeah, I don't want that old move that you have to do. Like, don't even bring it up if you ain't going. That ain't what you. We know you don't want to buy your own purse. We know you don't want to. Yeah, you want somebody else to do it.
by yourself all the time either. You might be able to afford that steak dinner, but you don't want to be at dinner all the time. You want
Just because you
someone
can
in your
afford it don't mean you want to do it. I mean, I can afford a lot of things I don't do on a daily basis because I don't want to pay for them on a daily basis. This is real. It is what it is. So, and so don't bring that up unless you're ready to trigger. And that's a trigger for me. I would have got off of that table as soon as she said that. I can get my own. And then you talking about $50,000 purses. Trust me. And then they try to do that double standard, like the women are making all this money over the men. And yeah, maybe if you add in like the Pookie and Ray Rays and this, but if you Ready to Love is a picked cast. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. If you took the males, and I know a lot of I ain't in everybody's pocket, but I know what people make and things of that nature. But if you took the males on all the cast and added their income up compared to the females and all the cast, the men are killing them by millions.
What?
In this show. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Okay.
So don't come on acting like the men are broke and I'm ready to. No, it ain't. That ain't the case. That ain't the case. We got some baller dudes that's been on this show compared to these women that with these CEO titles and all this stuff, but that bread don't be following that stuff. So it ain't that. Oh, you can buy your own Birkin and nobody else can do nothing. Nah. No, the men been killing income wise on the show, and here's the reason why. Because the men cannot use Ready to Love as an income come up like women can, because the show is 90% women audience. So if you're a woman coming on the show, you're not thinking of love right away first. These women are not on here for love as their first thought. They're on here to market something to get some money, make some little money. The men can't use it for that. So they over here, we on here to look cool, maybe, you know, man, first and this and that. But we got to have our own money. Women could come over here and say, okay, I can kind of get on from this show because 90% audience, new people on my Facebook, new people to sell this to or this to, and use it as a little come up for that. But nah, the men can't do that. The men gonna be selling to 90% women in the type of trades that we're in. It doesn't work. So the men got to come already with a little money in our pocket. The women can try to make it on the show.
Right.
So yeah, so these women ain't coming on here rich. You wouldn't be here.
Don't tell Simone that. Don't tell your girl Simone that. What about?
Simone, no shit.
Go ahead.
I said, no, they're not. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not saying they broke or anything else like that. But yeah, niggas not. I ain't met too many multi-millionaire women on the Radio Love set. I've met plenty of multi-millionaire men that's been on Radio Love set. Put it that way.
Your boy Blake, I heard, is one of them. Not trying to tell your business, Blake, but everybody know.
I wouldn't say Blake, but I mean, you got boys like Phil. You got some of them Atlanta boys that's on number 2 on season 2.
Oh yeah,
boys
that's a tough one. You know, I got inside scoop on some of these guys too, right?
Oh yeah, some of the guys you would least suspect, but they got it. Shit,
no,
your boy Zoe got it.
Zoe? Oh yeah. I heard about Zoe. Yep. But we didn't get any interviews from certain people was because of their the high level of their business. I understand that.
Oh yeah. Someone got it. So.
Right. I'm sorry, we left out Kimberly. What were your thoughts? Did you weigh in about the Birkin bag? How do you feel about the Birkin bag? Because some people said that he should give her a Ziploc bag instead. What you think about that?
Well, as a financial coach, you already know. No,
yeah,
don't
I know that's why I wanted to bring you into this conversation. Because Kimberly, by the way, guys, go over check her channel out. She is a financial coach as well as a podcaster.
Yeah, so I don't want a 50K Birkin or a car. Listen, where else can you put the money? I think the comment was just very poor taste. And I don't believe it because Christopher even made a little shade. He was like, you want a 50K Birkin and you're taking Uber or something like that.
Oh, yeah, he did slide that little shade in there. Talk about that.
Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, I agree because if you can spend 50K on a Birkin, why haven't you hired a matchmaker? They're going for like 1 to 2K, and you could really find the perfect man for you. So hire a matchmaker if you got so much money to throw away. So now it's like, I'm side-eyeing Sierra. What are you really here for?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. It inadvertently allowed, made us see her vulnerability exposed because the moment he clapped back with, "What if I don't get you that?" That's automatically what made her want to vote him off. The fact that he put her on the spot like that. So that showed that she, it kind of backfired on her.
Right.
And he was actually throwing even more shade when he said, "I don't even know your last name, but you're bringing up Birkin bags.
Wow.
Let me get to know you first." So he did say that. And
Yeah, he did.
yeah, I think, if you take a risk, if you're trying to be funny, try and make something land that's going to get the person to laugh. If you're trying to, really drop little hints about what you want, again, that's nothing to do with what the task was actually meant to be about. So
yeah,
you've actually inadvertently played your hand very early. You want someone who's balling, who can treat you to those nice things, and it's going to be no sweat to them. For some people, that's nearly probably 75% of their annual salary. So you want to wear that on your arm for a fashion statement.
And what if somebody comes up while you and your man, now, excuse me, JR, I'm sorry, but answer me this, JR, what you think about this scenario? What if someone, while you in the date, after you bought her this $50,000 bag, what if somebody comes and pops you guys upside the head or holds a pistol to you to rob you of that $50,000 bag? Then what?
Yeah, exactly. You got to give up the bag, and then she ain't the new one, so she better have insurance to get the case, but she ain't getting the new one.
Right, she's not getting a new one. No way, no how. Well,
I mean, you got to talk about that Uber though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why not get a car?
Because here's the thing. The Uber, because I know the protocol. What we do is we do this thing called the pull-up on your date. And the only reason why you take an Uber and you don't do a pull-up is because that car dusty. That's the only reason. Because the producers want you to do the pull-up move with the slow motion at your own ride. But if you don't got the wheels ain't right, you ain't gonna do no pull up. What's the nurse girl? I bet you're gonna be seeing her pulling up in that little Mercedes a bunch of times. They're gonna show her getting out the car. You ain't well, you don't got no pull up game. But that's just be like, well, just take an Uber then. We could make like you rolled up.
Oh, that's the trick of that one. Okay.
Yeah, so that was why a lot of these ones are you hear him Uber all the time and pull up in the Uber because you don't got no pull up game. On the camera don't want to see you get out of that Chevy Spoke, whatever it is, like, so you can Uber there to the date. Usually how that works. So yeah, can't do that. But like I said, I believe that she got a nice Chanel purse that she bought. These women are out here spending money like water. And that's why it's going to be very interesting to see how their bank account's going to be looking when they're in the 50s and 60s. I almost want to grow old just to kind of see some of these women and how they're going to maintain, especially if they don't get married. Because I'm in Chicago right now, getting home from Chicago. I saw it just like I see it in Houston. I see it just like I see it in Dallas. The people who are spending the most money out of anybody is black women.
Oh man, people buying all kinds of stuff. You got every designer shop you want to have. I always call Chicago the New York of the Midwest. I love Chicago.
Oh yeah, it is. But I'm just saying, I'm seeing black women spending money like water, and I know it's just the internet thing of you seeing something on the internet, you thinking that you can have it because that's Instagram. Yeah. Oh, everybody can have it. No, everybody can't have it. In order to afford a $50,000 purse, you really need to be making upwards of $6 to $10 million in the bank to spend $50,000 on one purse. They don't understand. I have a finance degree, University of Michigan. They don't understand real finance. So, yeah, they're spending it like water. And like I said, you better have something for a rainy day because if
what
it
happens
takes
if
a lot
you
of.
lose your job tomorrow? What happens if you wake up? I woke up one morning and I couldn't barely get out of bed, and this thing was thank God I was healed, right? Through physical therapy, working out, whatever. But you can wake up one morning, and that's not just like I'm some. I know I'm an older woman, I'm mature, I'm middle aged, but you can wake up anybody. I've had younger friends that are in their 30s that woke up one morning and everything had changed. Okay. So like you said, I was thinking exactly that what you said with your finance degree. How much money do you have to earn to be comfortable investing $50,000 in a handbag? Like really?
Big
And then you
time
know
money.
you're not just gonna get one.
NBA
Are
contract.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. There you go, Jay. I say that again so everybody can hear it.
NBA contract, man.
Yeah, NBA contract. There you go, or
But you
NFL, or
on
one of
Instagram,
those.
you see J Lo with it, and you're like, oh, we all supposed to have this. We're all supposed to get this
Mm-mm.
handsome man like Chris in front of us, and he's supposed to buy us that because that's what we see on the gram. Girl, get out of delusional world. That ain't your world. Can't everybody have everything? I was telling everybody that some people need to get down to reality and stay in their lane and get it together because this is becoming a habit and it
Ooh,
is taking down our whole culture is taking down. Not just one person. It ain't a Sierra problem. This ain't this is a cultural problem that's destroying us.
yeah, I think so. Right.
Hmm.
I'm looking at Salon. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little slow here because whenever I try to do too many things at the same time. But yeah, Solana, I agree with you. Sierra pretends a lot. That's the air I get. I mean, like, whoever on the panel, you guys that said that she's in the fashion industry, that's all fine and dandy, but but still, I'm just saying, being realistic. Can you go get a vintage one? Can you get one for 5K or 1K? I don't know. I've got a daughter that's in her 30s, professional woman, has a beautiful house, home, car, all of this stuff, all the accoutrements. And I'll have to ask her, does she have one of those things? Because my daughter is very financially savvy. She set up all of her stuff for her retirement. She's former Navy, she's a veteran. And I just don't really imagine that she has one, but she could. She could. But I will say, I think that if she does have one, I doubt it. I think she has some other things I've seen in her home, like because she has like almost a room, like a 5-bedroom house, and the one room is almost like a wardrobe, right? But I just think that you really have to have yourself set up for these things. Like, is your retirement funded? Are you taking the maximum deductions out for, that day when you walk away from the job, right? Do you have investments besides this thing, this $5,000 or $50,000 bag that basically may or may not be an investment? I don't know if those things are
Of
appreciative in
value.
terms of money, of
Yeah.
value, if they hold the value. Yes, thank you so much. But we're gonna move along. The next date next up we have Jessica. She decides to take lunch to Chris at his construction site because we know he's in construction and development. I thought she looked very nice. She came and she got him. They went over to one of the new builds that he has. Very nice home. They sit down to eat and chat. So Jessica says she's here, and this is, let me say this. She says she's here because she has work to do. And immediately when she said that, I, as a woman, cringed. I'm like, Jessica, why would you put it that way? But okay. Chris tells her that the way she talks to him has to be different than the way she talks to other people. He doesn't want her to talk to him the same way. He wants it to be softer, sweeter, and not as assertive. Um, Kimberly, what were your thoughts about this conversation that he was having with her, this part of it? And we'll get to the second part in a minute.
Okay, I loved it. Just like with Philip, I love when the man takes control, speaks on what he sees that's not going right and kind of
Mm-hmm.
demands what he desires for the woman to do. So I'm all for it with Chris. I'm not sure if Jessica's going to be able to bring what he wants because she's, up there, she's in leadership, type deal, and, leading her on thing, and he's doing his, and they're both busy. They don't even really have time to communicate. That's one thing that they spoke to, that the communication was kind of off. But I don't know if Jessica can be this soft woman that Chris says he desires.
Right. Because I mean, when she led with, "I'm here because I have work to do," what did you think of that statement?
It wasn't romantic. It wasn't like connection driven. It was just like, okay, let me see if you check off these boxes, because to me, it seemed like she's just really trying to hook Chris. It's like, that's her man and that's it. Like, we're already married. Let's go.
Right. Okay, thank you for weighing in on that. And JR, what were your thoughts about what he had to say about her speaking to him differently, softer, and less assertive?
I like the way he articulated how he felt.
Mhm.
It was very clear and concise, and I don't think what he said was designed to trigger. Um, and also, remember, the task was to talk about any concerns or doubts you have.
Yes,
So
yes,
it
they were.
went from the communication thing where she was like, "Yeah, I don't hear from you. You're always busy," and he said, "Yeah, but you're always busy too." And she was like, "Okay, that's fair, right?" Then
Right.
then he said, "Yeah, but I do have a concern, as well." And you know, I think this can go both like one of two ways. Um, she could either hear what he says, receive it, maybe a bit of self-reflection, and say, okay, maybe I could speak to him nicely because she's looking for a relationship. So why would you want to talk to your partner like an employee? So or you're at the job with them, So I think that was one way it could have gone, and the other way it could have gone is she gonna take it personal and be like, "No, I ain't changing for you because this is how I am, and if you don't like me, then you know that's it." And that's what she did. She chose the latter option, and that to me means that she ain't really feeling him like that because,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, for us men especially, um, the way that we are spoken to, you know it can be a very significant determining factor into how we view a relationship with you potentially going. We don't want to be with someone who's probably hostile and quite loaded when she is speaking, emotionally charged, or quite uh, out. I won't say outspoken. I'd say very assertive and direct in the words that he used, because it can feel like we're being put on the spot or interrogated, or
Mm.
it's a challenging energy, and we don't necessarily want to deal with all of that, to be honest.
Right, right, right. And can I ask you a question? Is that because I'm curious, really, and this is an honest question coming from a black woman who's a black mom of a son and a daughter.
Hmm.
Is that because at all because anything from childhood that when you're spoken to us by a woman with a certain tone, um, why is that exactly? I really want to understand.
Okay, so I think it's more to do with the fact that there's probably a notion that when you get together in a relationship, or you're dating someone that you actually like, then it flows
Hmm.
smoothly. You have those softer moments where you're laughing, joking. The conversations are very relaxed. Whereas
Hmm.
if you're speaking to and interacting with someone who isn't particularly feeling you, they're going to give you more of a hostile energy. So that's
Uh,
why I think, if he's called her out on that so early and in a way which was quite polite, and she
hmm.
still took offense to it,
Yeah.
then I feel like, despite her coming to his workplace, bringing him lunch, which was a nice gesture and everything, um, all he did was, and there are some ladies who you can't even ask to smile, and
Yeah.
because
Yep.
they will take that personally, and she may have seen it like in that context as well. You're asking me to change my mood. You don't know what I've been through that day, and blah blah blah. And for him, he may be thinking, yeah, but I'm not at work with you. You're at home now. Who are you at home? Why are you bringing your home um, work mentality? Sorry, why are you bringing your work mentality back into the home? And you're so emotionally charged that I can't relax and be with you in the way that I want to. So all you have to do is soften the way you speak to me, and I would
Hmm.
appreciate that a lot more. You know.
Hmm. And ladies, if you ready to love, ladies are watching this right now, I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking directly to you. Run over to Janice Hilton's YouTube channel and listen to her. She was able to snag a good man, had a child already, but she was able to snag a good man all of the accoutrements, the provider, the protector, and the professor of his love to her and his love of Jesus Christ. Go over there, check out her channel. And she talks about how the one thing that her husband said to her early on was this very thing, to be
Yeah.
careful of her tone. Kimberly, you want to expound on that just a little bit, and then we'll go over to Ron.
Oh yeah, we love Janice Hilton so much because, like
Yes,
you said, I believe she was in her 30s or early 30s when she got married, and she already
yes,
had a child, maybe teenage years, and she was very stern with how she had to soften her tone, and she just learned how to speak to a man, but still get her point of view out as well, but also submit to him. Which is what he needed. But yeah, they are living it up, 10 years married now and doing well.
yeah. Ooh, got the 10 years in, girl. That's the
Right.
benefit years. I'm sorry, my mind. No, but no, they are happily married. They're happily married, have another child together. He's fully supportive of her daughter that she brought into the marriage, and they have a great marriage. And like I said, it seems maybe impossible, but like I tell my one girlfriend, all you need is one good guy. You know, you dating all these different guys, but all you really need is one good guy. To do that, you have to be intentional, as well as you have to look and see the man that you're across from, is he intentional, and what are his plans, and do you guys align? That's the thing, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, but how you speak to men is very important. Ron, can you expand on that? Did you have any feelings or thoughts about what Chris said to Jessica on the date, about he likes for his woman, if she would speak to him softer and less assertive, that's because that's the way he's going to speak to her.
Yeah, I think it was a problem within her. Like we know who the bossy women on the show is of the cast, and
Right.
who's on that, at that type of atmosphere. And I think he was trying to, help her out, say coming out, but she's not going to be able to switch it on and off that easily. Like
Mm-hmm.
my sister had that problem, and she still deals
Mm-hmm.
with it daily with her boyfriend. That they're probably going to get married, but she says it's still a struggle daily
Mm-hmm.
to check myself and get into that more feminine, more less
Mm-hmm.
masculine vibe. But I don't understand it because I'm looking at this woman like, okay, you're strong, you're independent, we get it, but how is that going to translate to dating? Like a guy that looks like Chris is not going to take that. So who's going to take it? Like not on this cast, who's going to
Mhm.
invite that type of energy in?
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, like what are you looking for? You looking for a broke dude? This is gonna say I want a mama, or I want to take the docile role and let you handle everything, and I'll just be quiet in the background. Do you want to? What kind of man are you wanting? Is what I don't understand, because you thinking that you're gonna get this ferocious leader, independent guy. Because the problem with these women is, I've seen this, they're usually the softest ones. Oh, once you get past that force field, oh, they cooking,
Mm.
doing everything. It's the thing.
What?
They, oh yeah, they're the softest one. They're more softer than the submissive women that say they're submissive on front. Once you get one of them ones, them independent, strong, independent women, once you break that down, it ain't nothing but ain't nothing but cotton candy under that. And they know
Oh
that,
my
so
goodness.
It's
Okay, if
true.
you
That
say
is
so.
true. Some
yeah,
of
they
them.
Right.
know that. So they're protecting it, and they know that what's under there. But the problem is, the men are saying, "I'm tired. I'm 40 now. I don't feel like breaking down that thing for you in order to get to that. So I'm gonna leave
Mhm.
before then." And that's the problem that's happening. They're like, "Oh, just come break it down and get the good. You know the good is here." Oh, I can believe the good is there, but I don't. I got too many options. I don't want to break that down, and they're losing a lot of
Right.
good men before they even get to to be able to show what they do best. And like I said, a lot of that stuff is a defense mechanism for how good of a woman, how good they take care of their men once it's all broken down. It's just
Mm.
the people that's going to take the course to get there, who's willing to take the course to get there, they
Mm-hmm.
don't find value in those type of men. That man too
Oh.
short. That man don't make enough. That man don't look good enough. That man ain't uh, a leader enough. Those guys will stay the course until they can break down, and get to a more emotional bond with her and make her feel safe and get her to open up, and then the good stuff come out. But yeah, if you're gonna shoot for a man who already got it together and stuff, he's not gonna give you all the time you're gonna need to get through your emotional uh, stress and things of that nature in order to open up and let that cotton candy flow. So you got to get it going a little earlier is what I try to tell those type of women. Like, and that's why he was trying to check her and say, "Yo, all I'm saying is, I know it's there. Bring it out a little earlier. We don't got a lot of time here on Ready to Love."
Right. Start with it now. But you know what? I think it's a thing that a lot of women have gotten into these habits. They talk to everybody the same way. You talk to a man the way you talk to your girlfriend. You talk to this man because you don't respect them, because you know ultimately this is not the man you want to end up with. You have some high illusion and some delusion of who you're going to end up with. It's going to be the next Jay-Z. It's going to be this one, that one, and the other one. And yet you're not focused in being in the present moment. Who is right in front of you? And whether you know it or not, I think that sometimes we women, and I say myself included, when I was younger, we all fall under the delusion of these fairy tales that we hear about as little girls growing up, that some Prince Charming is going to come along and he's going to be tall and he's going to be this and he's going to be that. And deal with the man that's right in front of you and give him the utmost respect until you have determined that this is no longer the person you wish to date. And then at that point, kindly let him know that maybe, you know, we'll just be friends, or, you know, whatever this thing is. But don't keep wasting your time, his time, and you're not developing in your dating skills. And everybody, this whole thing about authenticity, everybody wants to be their authentic self, no matter how rude, no matter how outspoken, no matter how ill timing or how bad your jokes are. That's just really not going to work. It's not going to work.
It works for the women. If you're trying to press women on the show, which is the audience, like I said, most of the audience, 90% women, then they want to see a strong, assertive, independent, sassy woman.
Ron. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. I don't find it interesting. I don't find it delightful, like JR and I were just talking about just a moment ago. And I think you came in during the moment we were talking about with the date with who was it, Phil and Eris, right? That's a real date. That's two people willing to compromise, willing to have respect, that are showing respect for one another from what we can see on that date. I don't want to see all of these dates with women like what's her name, Kira, rolling her eyes at every date, being rude, telling somebody you look like the guy that dates white women. You know, like, I don't want to see that. No, it's I'm a woman, and trust me, it's not entertaining at all.
You're a healed woman, but most of the women find it relatable, and they like, okay, yeah, they roll with that. They like that. Trust me, production know what they're doing. It's very predictable, and they bring it out there all the time. So yeah, she's trying. Women gonna like that, but I'm with you. If you're looking for a man, it's the wrong approach to go about, because men are just they're not taking it no more. And like I said, a lot of times, I don't know if she got kids. I remember my season, and I love her to death. My favorite person on my whole cast, probably male or female, is Stacey.
Stacey B, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but Stacey B is bossy. We all know that. And even on the show, I even had to say, like, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't one of the kids. I know you got 3 kids you took care of as a strong woman by yourself, but, you know, don't be talking to me like one of them. Like, I pay mortgage. I got it.
Yeah, that is another thing. I think that as Black women, sometimes we that come out of being single parents, we have a way that we've gotten accustomed to maybe even speaking to our son a certain way, and then this man comes along and we're talking to him the exact same way, and a real man will rise up and say, and I don't mean physically, but they will let you know, like Chris let her know, like, I don't want you to talk to me the way you talk to everybody else. And I really got what he was saying. I appreciated his tone. He wasn't aggressive. He was just plain spoken, and he let her know. And then what I really loved that he added to it is that, speak to me in a soft, kind way, because I'm going to speak to you in that exact same way. And most of us women want a man to talk to us with respect. So why wouldn't we expect that they would want to be respected back? I don't get it.
Right. And I didn't actually get
Hello, Jr.
That's how I'm going to speak to you. There's reciprocation there. And she
Yes,
still had a problem
she
with
did.
what he said. So, you know, that to me it indicated a huge problem with Jessica that I didn't see previously.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I also think that she needs to be mindful because if she decides to stick with what she said, which was, well, I'm going to carry on, basically talking how I talk and whatnot. Yeah, you can do
Mhm.
that, but there may be other connections in the cast where he actually does have someone speaking to him more politely, and then he's going to make a choice, and you're the one that's going to get the kick. You're going to get the boot. So he's going to choose the lady that speaks to him politely as well as ticks most of the other boxes that he has. So I thought they were a strong connection at first. Now, after seeing this, uh, I don't think there's much hope for them. I don't think she should necessarily change anything for him. She should do it for herself if she feels like
Yeah.
she needs to.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't
I
think
agree.
she's going to. I don't think she's willing.
Yeah, that was the exact thought that I had too. She didn't seem to take well. I feel like often we see on this show the people come on, and I don't know, perhaps it's the fact that they're on camera. They're on camera and they don't want to appear a certain way on camera to their family, friends, and their followers, right? But I feel like oftentimes I would say probably 70% of the people I've seen on this show at the end, the middle, in between, they oftentimes will tell us, I'm not changing for anybody. I am
Mhm,
who I am. I am authentically me. I am uniquely me. All of that
mhm.
does is kind of lead you back to still staying single, in my opinion.
Yep. Definitely.
So I don't know, but that's just my thought. I just,
I
I don't
I
understand. She
agree
seems
with
like a lovely woman. Yeah.
you. I agree with you because you're on the show for a reason. It's because everything you've done up to that point hasn't worked in terms of finding a
Correct.
successful relationship. So you're on the show to try and find one. So for you to say, okay, well, I am who I am, yeah, you're actually putting yourself back at risk of not finding anybody and starting from scratch again. So, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, sadly. Um, well, now let's address a little bit. I think you did address some of it, but let's just make sure we cover it and we'll move on. She had her concerns about, like you said earlier, him not contacting her, but then once she brought it up to him, he politely pointed out, I haven't heard a lot from you either. And she admitted, you're correct, you're right. I didn't have your number, whatever the case may be. I'm kind of a little bit at a loss as to if you have a cell phone, how someone calls you and you don't have their number. I'm a little lost, but okay. So we see them kind of go back and forth, and like I said, they seem to kind of be on par with this. Did you have any thoughts, any additional thoughts on why that was that they're both busy, they're both professional career people, right? What were your thoughts on that, JR?
well, if you've got a high powered job or a senior role, then chances are you're going to spend a lot of time at work. So, that's the other side that comes to earning a lot of money. You have to do
Yeah.
things. You have a lot of responsibility, or you have a lot of things to do at the job. So
Yeah.
um, it's it's probably very common with professionals who are struggling to find a relationship when they do meet another professional who's earning above a certain amount. Time's not going to be always there, and that's why you have to value the time that you do get to spend together, and hold it tightly and spend it wisely, because it's not always going to be there. Some days you may have to travel away for work, or out of town, or sometimes one person's at home, the other person's got to work all day, things like that. So um, I'm glad again that they were able to have this conversation in a calm, respectful way. And, if that was one of her concerns, but she's also guilty of doing it herself, then, you know, she should understand the pressures of work and how important the time is that they do spend together. Which also leads to why I'm confused as to why it was such a big deal when he said, "Speak to me nicely." Like,
Right.
if you want to spend time with the person, you're busy at work, working 50, 60 hours a week per se, and then on your free time, you want to get together with your new boo and spend time together. The last thing that you want to do is start being hostile and talking to that guy or sunning him or, you know, any type of way, because he's automatically not going to want to spend time with you no more. He'll rather be at work than be with you.
I see you and Roro in the chat hitting it off, and I see Roro says, yeah, how would the women have received it if Tommy had told the men to express their doubts? And you responded very badly.
Yeah.
I laugh. Ron, any thoughts before we move on as to why
I think
they're not connecting? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking it was a bad date. I mean, we don't get a chance to choose our dates. I don't think using work as an excuse in this format. He's talking to somebody on the phone for hours because you have to, and there's no other way around. You wouldn't be still here if you weren't talking to people on the phone. Because like I said, that's how we communicate on Raised to Love. So I don't think he's that attractive or a match to her, and I don't think that he's her match. Chris got I mean, I don't know. I sense a lot of acting job coming in from him. And I think a grown woman like her sees through that a mile away.
Okay.
She ain't gonna go with it. Yeah, he's trying to, do everything too much, too perfect, this and that. He knows, him and Quentin, they both know the blueprint. They put on that Derrick Jackson on y'all. Everybody.
Ooh, no, not the Derrick Jackson. We're about to find out next week, as JR pointed out, when we meet his girlfriend, his ex. We're about to find out some things about him, I think.
Yeah, they put on a Derrick Jackson. Because let's keep it real. The show is very predictable. The women who watch, the audience that watch the show, women-wise, is predictable. You can really blueprint this show up and kind of tailor your personality to what the audience, the women, wants to hear, and kind of run it and try to make everything sound perfect and stuff. I'm a provider. I'm a protector. I'm soft. I understand your needs. And when I meet these guys in the streets, there don't be none of that. It'd be no different than Habibi. It'd be the same guy.
Not the Habibi.
It'd be the same person. So it's like some of them put it on that. It's easy to put on a little front. And when I see it looking too perfect, I'd be like, that person is just reading the script, off that. So some women see through it and be like, I ain't about to play that game. Other people will partner up with it. But yeah, I just think she was like not that interested. You could tell she wants the more realness. Who's the one guy, the big guy that I think she's kind of like.
That Jessica likes. JR, Kimberly.
Cheeseburger.
Who is that?
Was it Marie?
Mario, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Mario.
Okay.
Yeah, he's being more his authentic self. I think she sees the difference of that. And like I said, I think Chris is trying to make his round. You know what I mean? Trying to get it good with the ladies, make his round.
Do you really see Jessica with Marie? Or okay, I gotta ask you, the RTL alum, a question. Or is this an alliance between her and Marie? Because that's what it feels like to me.
No, it's an alliance between her and Janelle. Yeah, because it happened to me when I was on the cast. Like I said, I didn't know because I was naive. So
right.
I'm talking to Chrysanthemum. Stacey is cheerleading me in the chats with the women to everybody else. Even though I'm like, I have no interest. I can't have any interest in Stacey if they're friends. I'm dating Chrysanthemum. But she's like, no, you don't get it. It's alliance. You supposed to cheerlead me up too to the back so we all can stay together.
Oh, I see what you're saying. She was cheerleading you to the women's side in the women's lounge, the ladies' lounge, and you were supposed to be doing the same for her in the gentleman's lounge.
Yeah, but I didn't know. I'm thinking like, why would you cheerlead me, Stacey? When I'm talking to your friend, we're not talking like that.
Oh,
and I'm not getting the game aspect of it.
You were just a babe back then.
Yeah, so I didn't know I didn't study before I got on the show. I don't know the game, so and they're looking at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, damn, you're right. I messed that one up. And I was like, I damn sure went cheerleading. Nobody that I wasn't in my top three.
Right. You have to build these alliances, but that's what I'm saying about Jessica and Marie. Jessica, do you think she really wants Marie?
I think that's her biggest connection.
I know he's fit and everything, and I know he works out 5 times. I'm sorry. I will not. I'm sorry.
I think that's a connection. I think she has the best phone connection with him. I think they talk more than any other guy.
Okay.
By far. And I think he likes her. I mean, you got to go. These women got to learn how to go with who likes them. I don't know what's wrong with
That's
them.
what my mama used to always say. Love who love you. That's what my mama taught me.
Yeah. So and Janelle know the game hard. She got this thing inside and out. She's telling her, yeah, we got to keep him on because he gonna keep your vote up, keep you here. And she want her best friend to be with her the whole step of the way. So they playing their little alliance game. It's a game.
Okay.
And Chris ain't involved in that game, so yeah, there ain't no interest there.
Right.
He ain't part of that alliance.
You got my boy out here in the chat. He says he talking to you, Ryan. He said he said this is the Survivors dating edition.
Oh, it is. It is what it is. It's a part of that aspect of the show. You know what I mean? So anytime you have elimination, you have that component to any show that has an elimination.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
And Roro, you're right too. Exactly. Cheerleading like Blake and Advocate Sue. That's right. That's what they did. They aligned and they advocated for one another. Right. Okay, guys, we're gonna move forward. The next up, we got Marvin and Katrina meet up. He brings her also another floral bouquet. So the guys are on point with the flowers. I love that. I love seeing that the men are being gentlemen. They are trying to woo these ladies to a certain degree. I'm sorry, I mispronounced her name. Katarina. Katarina says that she has learned some things and she feels like they do not line up with what Marvin is telling her. And so she asked Marvin, for example, with his lifestyle, if he can be monogamous. And she doesn't quite believe him. I mean, I don't think we need to really dwell on this date for too long. She doesn't quite believe him. You guys, what are your thoughts? Kimberly, what are your thoughts about this?
I don't believe him either. I'm not sold, but I also think that Katarina is not physically attracted to Marvin either. But like you said, the flowers was a nice gesture, but I just cannot see how this dominatrix man is gonna just, be with one woman for the rest of his life with that much like excitement and I guess the desire for the excitement in him. Like, how are you just going to cut this off and 100% stick with one woman? But we're going to see more when the X comes in. So that's going to be a good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is so true. Yes. JR, what are your thoughts about Katarina and Marvin?
I think she raised a great question for him because what he claims to be looking for, a monogamous relationship, is not compatible with the lifestyle that he keeps leading with all the ladies. So therefore it's a legit question, and you could tell he was sweating, and he said, yeah, of course I am, like I wouldn't be here otherwise. Well, you are on the show, but what you've been talking about is dungeons and various fetishes, helping ladies to reach certain points in their life and stuff. And
thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Erotic novelists and all that stuff. So yeah, like she basically was not in a hostile way, but she asked a legit question to call him out and fess up. Like, are you here to find similar-minded people, or are you actually here to find a traditional relationship? I tend to think that he wants this alternative lifestyle because that's what he speaks about the most. I've hardly ever seen him speak about, I want one woman, this is what I want to do, I'm feeling this lady, this, that, the other. No, he just keeps talking about all these different things and implements and dungeons and stuff. So Yeah, like that date sank like a lead balloon. It went down. Um, and she was right not to believe him because he hasn't given us any indication, and probably her either, who's in close quarters with him, filming for hours at a time. She's heard some of the chat
Mm.
from the other ladies as well, about
Oh,
what he's been
right.
saying
That's
to them.
right.
So
Yeah. Good point.
therefore, like, it's a legit question, and I think if he wants to lead with that lifestyle, then he needs to stand 10 toes down and just admit that, a monogamous relationship will probably hamper his uh vices. And
Mm-hmm.
there's no way a woman wants to come home to hearing other women being pleasured downstairs in the basement by her man.
Ooh,
There's no way.
no, not my cup of tea. Now I can't. Everybody's different, and I'm accepting that. That is fine, but not my cup of tea. Um, we'll move forward. So we got next up, we got Kira. This is interesting. We got Kira who invites Herbert over to her home for a nice meal and to make a TikTok. Okay. We find that her poodle apparently has no home training, nor does she seem to care. Her standard size poodle is all over Herbert. He's jumping up on Herbert. And I'm like, as a pet owner, the one thing you should always know is that everybody is not going to love your child, your pet, your dog, your cat the way you do. And especially if they're trying to eat. That's not even sanitary, in my opinion. Am I the
Mhm.
only one that was ranting over this, or did anybody else? Kimberly, what were your feelings about the dog just jumping up all over Herbert, and she's just sitting there being the cheerleader, not saying a word?
Yeah, it was terrible. I was very displeased, and I thought just from her being so proper overall that she would have did a
Hmm.
little better and she would have spoke up, and kind of corrected her pet. But like you said, if they're not trained, they're just not trained. Herbert did good though, just going along with it. But
He
you
sure
know,
did, but I bet you he went home and talked about her. Is this the way she gonna raise her children with no home training?
oh,
Okay.
good
Mm-mm.
point. That's a good point. Yeah, it was terrible.
Mm.
Rob, what did you think about this date with Kira and our boy Herbert and the dog? Oh, Ron. Okay, maybe Ron may be out of sync right now. I think he's on the road. Jr., what were your thoughts about this date?
Well, first I'll start with the dog, and I'll just say she probably is very white aligned, like she says she is, because I
Yep.
don't think black people, most black people, have a relationship with their dog where it can be running up all up in the bed and on the furniture and at the kitchen table. I don't see many people doing that in our community, but I think the fact that she was very open to doing this TikTok challenge. It was a very cheerleader type date, if I can say that.
Hmm.
Literally, just her fun was doing the challenge with him, and he went with it. Herbert
Yeah,
didn't really complain about it. He was like, "Nah, I don't do that type of stuff." But he went with it.
he did. He
She
was a good
felt like it
sport.
brought them. Exactly. She felt like it brought them together, or it built a connection or something. But I didn't see that. I don't think Herbert's really feeling her like that, and I don't blame him. Dogs can be very unhygienic, and if you're letting
Yeah.
them run around like that would be an instant turn off, red flag. Who's more into cleanliness and hygiene, right? So
Little Hurdler, you wrong for that. Little Hurdler points out they didn't even remove the toy from the packaging before they gave it to the dog. The dog is probably choking on the cardboard right now.
Oh,
I noticed that too. I was like, well, dang, do we have scissors available? can we take this chew toy out the cardboard or just wait before we give it to the dog? Like, there's usually a little small print that says, be careful. This is not a toy, talking about the wrapping and the cardboard and the strings and whatnot. So I'm with you on that, little hurdler. But I just thought it was really kind of ironic, and it kind of goes to and you guys, I don't know if anybody else, I know you probably saw the Crystal XO interview with Kira. And I thought it was a very good interview, but if you had any doubts or questions, or you were unclear about who Kira is, I feel like for me, it kind of gave me a better insight into her. And the thing that I come away with is not whether she's proper, whether she's white adjacent, is she the most white in the cast? But the thing that it came across to me that stuck out, and it stuck out from the beginning, is she seems to have very little self-awareness about herself and how she comes across to other people. So.
Very true.
But is that a problem though? Like I just think.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem.
I mean, well, we can't keep putting black women in a box though either. Let her be herself. Like, I mean, we have not seen the women. I mean, when I go out and I'm in the streets and I see black women, they're in all different things. Some are proper, some are into anime, some are into all kind of stuff now. Like, and then on this show, we always had that same strong, independent, black adjacent woman that production wants to showcase every single time. And I'm like, I don't see that out in the dating market. I see different types of black women. Right. They're into different type of things. They're into cheer and into this and going to see the Barbie movie and all this other type of stuff. And I see this all the time. And men, and they got plenty of men, because men don't mind a woman with a little different personality and things of that nature. So I don't think they did her right, because her connection was we heard Chris say that she was his number one. The new guy.
Chris number one, or Christopher. Okay,
Christopher, 2. Yeah. Okay. We didn't see him on one date. So production does that stuff sometimes. That's his number one. He said it's his number one. We didn't see them on one date. No, we sure didn't. And that person, he was with it. He's with that personality, and he said that on camera. So, okay, I think they're trying to bring out that side and things that I don't think it's fair, because, like I said, black men, we with it. When you come in with a little white girl to you, it's okay. You work with that. We work with that.
What I had, you know what? Okay, listen now. I don't have a problem. I've been called Oreo. I've been called white sounding, white talking, white whatever. Okay, and it don't.
And never had a problem with a man.
No, not at all. Black, white, or otherwise. Okay, and not worried about it, not in the least bit, because I don't live my life based upon what other people think of me. I actually grew up before there was an Instagram, so I have a whole developed, person and spiritual side and all these different sides to my personality. But that wasn't Ron. What I'm saying about her is this: it doesn't matter how you behave and what your authentic self is. When I say that she has no self-awareness, that's an issue. Like, for example, why would you call somebody, say they look like they date white women, and you say this incredulous thing to them rather than asking them? I don't have a problem with her asking him, who do you prefer, or who have you dated in the past? I don't have a problem with that, but instead she makes it as a statement, but then the same person wants to act all hurt and victimized when you say, Marie says to her whatever he says about race, and she's like, oh, but I'm offended. I'm so hurt. How could you make that? How could you prejudge me? That's what I'm talking about. Self-awareness is about emotional intelligence. It's nothing to do with how black or how white or how Latino or however you want to act or be in the anime. I don't care. But have awareness about how you come across and how you offend people, but then you take no ownership or accountability for the same offense, and yet then you want to turn around and be offended. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I get it. It's something a little fishy about that scene with Derek Jackson.
Derek Jackson? There's no Derek Jackson on the show.
He is Derek Jackson. Giving y'all Derek Jackson treatment.
Are you talking about Marie? Who are we talking about?
No, I'm talking about Quentin and the Janelle and that whole alliance. That whole alliance of
Oh
what they
Lord.
giving y'all.
Oh Lord. Yeah, I got questions about that too, but we gotta go with what we seen on the camera. We gotta go with
Yeah, that whole
what they showed us and what they said on
just so
camera.
happens, oh, you 10 years older than me. Oh, it's okay. Oh, we can get the family going tomorrow. Yeah, right. Yeah, here's the thing about it. I tell my sister all the time, I do not ever date a fitness trainer. And here's why. Fitness
Well,
trainers clientele, a black male's fitness trainer like that, clientele is 90% women. So he has to convince these women they got to pay $100 an hour and stuff for this whack training. And the only way you get able to do that is you got to manipulate the women. So when you're dealing with a person who's going to tell a woman anything they want to hear at any time, that Derrick Jackson stuff, that's how you become a good fitness personal trainer. That's how you make money in the business. I know plenty of them. I'm a VP of a #1 sports nutrition company. That's how you do it. And that's all he's doing back. He's a professional at it. This is DJ, Derrick Jackson to the fullest. So,
Oh, that's the Derrick Jackson you speak of. I got you now. Okay.
yeah. so,
Oh my Lord.
so I know how it sounds when it's rehearsed. I get it. We all could have done it. What would our boys think if we came on here pretending, doing that Derrick Jackson routine? So a lot of us kept it real, but nah, I don't get that. So I ain't gonna blame her too much for that. Like I said, I think her match was Christopher. I just think they want, people want to put her in this light, and they didn't want to put her on no dates with Christopher. I wouldn't be surprised if they talked more at the reunion.
Okay. Okay. You know what? And if they find love together, because I could, now that you bring that up, because I missed that part, I could see them together more so than anybody else. Like you said, her match being there, that could have been her match. So if that's her match, knock yourself out is what I always say. Knock yourself out. Okay. Knock yourself out. But we'll slide on. We'll move forward. Because we got some more to say about Kira a little bit later on in this whole scenario. Let's see. I'm sorry, you were gonna say?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, so then now we're moving on to Janelle and Quentin. They finally get a date alone. And so like Ron was just saying, they talk about babies, adoption, because there is that like a 7 or 8 year gap, JR. Is that like a 7 or 8 year gap between the two of them?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. So, she's with her being older, she's 41 and he's 34 or something like that. And so, of course, for her as a woman, she has to now think about a quicker time schedule. And Ron says that it's maybe a little bit forced. What do you think, JR? Do you think it's a little bit forced? Is he telling her what all she wants to hear and what the audience wants to hear about this younger man, older woman scenario that she wants to marry quickly and have a baby quickly? Do you think that's genuine, what he's saying to her?
I think two things can be true at the same time. I think he is saying what she wants to hear for sure, try and solidify that connection. And more importantly, because he feels like he's in competition with Herbert for her, I think he wants to win that competition. So I think he's telling her what he wants to hear to try and, win her for himself. And then I also think at 34, if he is that, he may want to settle down and have a family quickly too. So if she's in a rush to do it, he's indicating that he may actually be open to starting a family very quickly. But when she said we would need to fall in love like tomorrow or something like that, and he was like, yeah, that's cool or whatever. I was like, no. Like, you don't fall in love. It's not forced. It's natural. It takes time. It takes chemistry and all different types of variables. You don't schedule when you're going to fall in love. Now, do you really want to have a child and get married very quickly to someone who you just met on the show? And she may not even choose him at the end, because she still has a connection with Herbert to some degree. So, yeah, I think it was fluff. I think he was just saying what she wants to hear, gassing her up a bit. And she liked it, She, as soon as she asked the question, she lit up when he started responding. And I don't necessarily agree with Ron with regards to the fitness trainer element. I mean, there are some. There definitely are some personal trainers, fitness instructors on both sides who can use their sales pitch in the dating market and try and get relationships that way. There are definitely some that do that, and conversely there are a lot of gym members who go to the gym to find a partner. But
Yes.
I think in this case, I don't think it's got anything to do with that. I think Quentin comes across as a guy who speaks his mind in a pleasant way.
Yes, he does.
But at the same time, I do think he was kind of pandering to her a bit to appease her, and she seems to get along with her connections very well. She hasn't had, even when she was talking to Herbert about his lack of communication, she did it in a respectful way. So I haven't seen Janelle being particularly hostile or nasty to the guys.
No,
and I think
not
that
to the guys.
exactly. So I think Quentin really has a connection with her. Like she said very early on, I would like you to pick me up. And
And he did.
a couple dates later, he picked her up. And that kind of probably brought them closer together. So I like the connection for what it is. I don't think they're each other's first. I think Quentin still has unfinished business with Lee. That's still a strong connection, but it's not being aired for some reason. So I want to know what's happening with that. And like I said, with Herbert, that seemed like a very cool match a couple of episodes ago. So I want to know what's happening with that too.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I got a question for all you guys. Ron, Kimberly, and JR. I got a question. So is it just me, or was it kind of surprising to you guys in this date, in this conversation, that when they talked about adoption, and he said, would you be okay with adoption? And she said, of course, because I'm adopted. And then he asked her, he said, but are your adoptive parents Caucasian? And she said, no, they're Black. Was it just me, or did anybody else surprised that A, he didn't know that she was adopted, but yet they claimed they talk over the phone all the time? And B, that he didn't know that her adoptive parents are also Black people like she is?
Yeah. Well, I think their attraction is very, very much based on lust and the physical attraction. So the stuff they're talking about after dark is probably more booty call conversations rather than in-depth conversations. Clearly, because he didn't know things about her,
So
I think they're talking about that alliance. You don't gotta talk. If you got an alliance, you don't gotta talk to nobody, because you already know what the vote gonna be when it's time to get to the thing. And two things that about both of these that really hit home. They're both super competitors.
Who? Derek Jackson. Yep. I mean Quentin and Janelle.
Yeah, they're very competitive. So when you get in a competitive mindset here, your mindset on this show can be like, make it to the end, because that's your competitive nature coming out. You know what I mean? And it kind of overshadows finding love and the purpose of the show, which you're really there for and stuff, because you get into a very competitive mindset. And super competitors get like that on this show sometimes. And I think they're both real competitive people. Even some of those snobby comments earlier that Janelle was making about, it was just competition. It was being competitive. Some of the little comments that Quentin make, you waiting on me? I'm the man. You know what I mean? Some of that type of flirting is more, I'm in the game. I'm ready for that competition. It's competitive form instead of natural. This is my authentic self. Let me get to know you. Let me get to nurture you. Let me get to feel, you know what I mean? The difference between that date and the difference between Phil's date with the girl, when he was like, man, I guess we've been talking on the phone. I have been getting to know her. I'm feeling that ready to love mystique connection going on. You know what I mean? Things of that nature. It was night and day if you look at kind of how those dates were in the substance factor of it. So I think you got an alliance going on here with a competitive streak. and then you have something a little more real going on there. But there's no way in the world you about to see a long-term relationship with this guy dating a woman 10 years there, and she ready to have a family and baby right away. Quentin, if he was ready, he would not been on the market in that city. He don't live in Iowa. He don't work that way. He working, and like I told you, I guarantee 90% of his clientele is women, because that's how you make it in that business. It ain't men ain't paying burly guys to stand over us and work us out. We don't even know. It's a woman's perfection, so you're around women all the time. So you just trying to tell me, oh, you just all of a sudden want a woman 10 years older than you, and y'all want to start a ready-made family in the next 2 months? Get out of here, man.
Right. Well, I want to, before we go on, thank you, Ryan. I got to give this acknowledgement. Little Hurdler, thank you for your $5 super chat. And she says, he is not Derrick Jaxn. He is more Jermaine Jackson. So she wanted to let you know, Ron. She wanted to let you know, okay? That is not Derrick Jaxn. That's Jermaine Jackson with the pomade in his hair. And so we move. Wait a minute. Yeah, we move on to Kira and Marie have another date. They meet at the ice cream shop, ironically enough. And he talks about the fact that he's an activist. He's very into Black culture. She, of course, has the levels to Blackness and feels like, she's not necessarily like Angela Davis. And that's okay. Like Ron said, there's all types of Black people. I get it. I totally get it. Trust me. She thinks that she has been prejudged. And like I said, this is where the self-awareness is lacking. She says to him, oh, you're prejudging me, but yet she goes ahead and she feels totally comfortable prejudging others. I think that's a little weird. That's just me. He says in his confessional that the connection is probably not there. And I tend to agree with him. It's not there. Guys, what were your thoughts about this date with Marie? The two of them, it's almost like production just threw them together to see what the sparks, what fight would come out of this, because they know these two people do not vibe with each other. We saw that at the improv date, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kimberly. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I agree. I don't think they're gonna work out. She's stuck on just his, I guess, the Blackness comments, the culture, and knowing that Marie is all into that, and Kira really not so much. She's trying to be quiet, cut the Black Lives Matter stuff, and let's just focus on being proper, and maybe going to these white events, and being the cute couple.
She's a crossover girl, and that's okay.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. That's fine, but for her to say that now she's concerned about his character, I'm like, I didn't see anything so wrong that would make her question it at this point. So maybe it's something that happened kind of behind the scenes, but I'm not sure why she's now all of a sudden trying to attack him. It was Quentin, and so it's like she's going around trying to attack and bring people down. So I don't know, it makes me kind of nervous, because I think they're going to try to get her out of there soon. So she's really not going to be able to make a connection there if she keeps this mentality up.
Right. Well, she did mention on the Crystal, shout out again to Crystal XO, because she's getting all these great interviews. But she did mention on the Crystal XO interview that she just did a couple of days ago that, of course, a lot of her best friend is Caucasian and so forth. And I'm sorry, I don't want to, but it just makes me wonder, has she picked up some Karenism from some of the people that she hangs out with? Because like you said, and I'm saying this because we see this not just one time, we see this with her and Quentin, accusing him of being looking like the guy that likes white women. Okay. Instead of asking the question, we see her with Marie saying that now all of a sudden in her confessional, she's concerned about his character. You didn't like his question, lady, but what does that have to do with his character? I'm not following. Show me the logic. Get me from point A to point Z, because I'm not following your logic in this. So yeah, but JR, I'm sure you've got something to say about this whole situation.
Oh yes, for sure. I think that she's intimidated by his personality, and he in no uncertain terms said, this is my position. I wake up as a Black man every day. I go out, I'm an advocate for the community, and you know, I wear this uniform that I was born with, and I'm proud to be that. And if
Yes.
that's intimidating, then she's on the wrong show, because a lot of guys have that sentiment if they're asked about their thoughts about Black culture, you know. So she is a hypocrite. I think the word you're looking for is hypocrisy, or you know, she was
yes.
taking shots at somebody for dating outside when she's quite capable of dating outside as well. If she hangs around with non-melanated people, then you know, chances are she's going on double dates and hanging out with them in their spaces, and possibly interacting with many guys who are non-melanated as well. So I can see why she was intimidated. She's not in touch with her, and she's not in tune with her culture in the same way that Morier is. So, and you know, that's cool. She just needs to find someone that aligns with who she is, and you know, she can accept them for who they are, and vice versa. But I doubt it's going to be a match on this show, so she probably should start packing, to be honest.
Yeah.
It ain't. That's not true about a match. Morier is he's a acclaimed activist and things of that nature, and it is levels to your wokeness, right? But most men don't care. Like, just don't throw Black people under the bus, and we good. You can be however you want to be. I like a woman that has diverse friends, because they just, to me, they're better relationship women. They you know, learn what that Asian woman doing for that Asian man. Learn what that white girl doing for that white man, and bring some of that to the table, because how y'all treating these Black men, and then you just got all Black single girlfriends and stuff, and then that's where you getting your information from on a daily basis. I can't get with it. So I can learn a Black,
especially the all single Black girlfriends.
I can't do it. I was literally just did an event in Chicago this weekend. Asian dude just met his Asian wife.
Uh-oh. Hello, Ron. Ron? Okay.
The waiting list is 10 years or something like that. She wakes up out of her sleep. They're not even married yet. They just started dating. She's 48. Said, you know what? I just had a dream. I'm going to go get tested. Find out that she was a match. Gave him a kidney, did not blink.
Wow.
And they're striving in America. You know what I mean? Like, those, you know what I mean? You ask a Black woman soon in a relationship, something like that. You know what I mean? Or not even ask. But these are some of the stuff that some of these women are doing for their men on these different cultures and stuff. I want you to be around some of that. This woman owns a whole nursing facility, and she cooks every day. She's like, all I do is cook and all this type of stuff. And then the man's highly successful too. I'll give him that. But the fact of the matter is, he was admitting, he's like, we haven't been on vacation for 3 years because I've been working so hard, and I've been a grouch, and I've been grumpy, and I've been doing this, and I've been doing that. And she's been taking it. And these women want to go on a trip every 2 weeks. This girl got the money, and they ain't been going on vacation in 3 years, 3.5 years. And he's admitted, I'm a grouch, and I'm a grumpy as hell every day I come in this house to her. And she's still cooking and cleaning and making money and giving kidneys away and things of that nature. So I'm like,
you say giving kidneys away.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey, get gay. I hope she do got Karen as a best friend. Get some diversity around you, because I need a different board of directors around some of these Black women these days. Can't just be that single one. Yeah. So like I said, I don't mind her personality. I think she'd be fun to hang with. And I will eventually get a chance to test that theory myself. But I think she'd be cool to hang with, something different, a breath of fresh air for what's going on. I think a lot of the guys would probably match with her. But I hate to bring this up, and I know it's very
well, just make sure
superficial. I know it's very superficial, but it was a pretty big weight gain jump. If you look at her cheerleading tryouts to now, in the time frame on it.
Who are we talking about? Janelle?
Kara.
Oh, you saying that from when the show started to later in the season?
No, when she if you look at the video, you gotta look at the video of her when she was on the Dallas cheerleading show.
When she was a cheerleader. Oh yes.
Yeah. And I think she stopped because it was hard on the weight loss demands and things of that nature with it. But a lot of that stuff sometimes is mental.
Right.
You know, I'm in the fitness, you know, in that case, some of that stuff is mental. And I don't know how that affects that. You know, Dallas is a different beast because like I told you, it's home of the Dallas cheerleaders, white, blonde. That's the image. Big boobs, thin waists, and they kind of run the show there. And like I said, the black men, they're interracially date. And they're open about it. They're upfront about it. They're in your face with it.
Yeah.
And the black women have said, "Hey, we got to compete, or we got to do this, or we got to do that." So it's a different type of city when it comes to those, and it's very superficial. It's very about money. It's very about who's doing for what, who, and that it's the LA of the South. That's just what we're dealing with Dallas, and people don't go. Yeah, people don't know.
Rod, to your point, I know growing up watching beauty pageants as a young girl, that a lot of our beauty pageant beauty queens came out of Texas during the era back in like the 80s, and they were always in the top 5. If you came out of Texas, you had big boobs, little tiny waist, and blonde hair that was mile high.
Mile high, big hair. Yep. Big
hair. Yep.
And that's the image of the city.
Yeah. So I was wondering about that because Quentin did say something about her. He said that her and the other young lady that got eliminated last week, Unique, he said that neither one of them worked out. And I thought to myself, well, how does he know that? And then she claims on her interview with Crystal XO that she does work out, but well, like JR says, 2 things can be true.
Well, I think that, Ron definitely could be right. About it being a good thing to have different friends of different cultures and ethnicities and things like that. But with regards to Kira, she's none of the other things that that Ron or Aubrey described. She doesn't seem to be the type of person that is going to be open to Black culture as much as Morier is displaying it. So that's why I think they're not a match, because it's not just from a physical standpoint. I don't think they match well, but also in terms of who they are as in personality, they're a lot different. They're almost polar opposites. I won't say she's pro white, but she's very white aligned, and she's proud to be that, and that's not a problem. She just isn't going to find a match in Morier, and I haven't seen any of the other guys really checking for her like that. So that's why I think she's going home soon.
Yeah,
well, they send her match home with Christopher.
Right. Well, and you know what? But like Chris, I find it very interesting when someone clings to their job always as their identity, because just like Chris was saying, he's would have been a doctor, could have been a chiropractor, would have been a model, was a model. Her talking about her 1 year in the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader is kind of like, okay, and what else is there to you? What else is there to your personality?
Yeah, but that's why, let's keep it real. That's why they picked her to be on the show. You know what I mean? It's Dallas. They got to represent something to Dallas. Yeah.
That was her claim to fame to get on the show, but I'm just saying, but still, Ron, if you're there trying to make connections and even stay on the show for whatever reason you might have, whatever agenda, it would probably behoove you to talk about who you actually are. You don't have to tell us what you don't believe in. You're not pro Black Power. You're not pro Black Lives Matters. You don't have to tell us what you're not about. Tell us what you are about.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if she wants to stand on the fact that she said, "Hey, I'm like she said, I'm Black. My parents are Black. I live in the Black experience. I just don't. I'm not an everyday. I'm not an everyday advocator for that. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I like to see different types on the show, even if it was a Candace Owens type, kind of which she reminds me of. But it's still nothing wrong with that. Only thing I don't like about a Candace Owens is don't use that to throw black people under the bus in front of white people. I hate that. That's my biggest pet peeve. I go crazy. I don't never do that. But if you stand in your lane and just being within your truth, and maybe you went to you went to good schools. Your school was in West Bloomfield. I went to Class Tech. I understand you're gonna have a different experience when it comes to that type of lifestyle.
Right.
You're a technician?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Go ahead with your bad self. Go ahead.
So
I
understand it's gonna be a different experience. And I've dated women that, if you educated guy, you're gonna date women that grew up in that experience. They're suburb girls, and they went to those type of schools, and they've been good relationships. And I never expected them to be an activist or to be super woke and stuff. I just wanted them to understand, and like I said, and don't be throwing, black people under the bus, or you know what I mean. But can't everybody put that stress on their back that Morier does, and say I work in this type of environment, and because it is stressful. There's a lot of negativity that comes along with dealing with the society that we live in, and dealing with race every single day can be just draining on you.
Yeah.
Now, I applaud that brother for doing it, but he's right. He needs a woman that's gonna fight that battle with him, and every woman's not ready to sign up for that.
Exactly. And let's be real, she did throw someone under the bus. She threw Quentin under the bus. And
that's what I was saying earlier, right?
Even though the cast are black, the production and directors who were also present are white. So she did do it in front of white people, to be honest.
Yeah, but she might know something we don't know about that situation. Don't think that these people don't know each other when they come into the
Well, I heard, okay, so let's talk about that briefly. We all heard, many of us that follow the show heard through Instagram and what have you not, that when she went to his Instagram page, she saw him in photographs with a lot of Caucasian women. He said later on that those were women that he was training. I don't find that so outrageous. So I don't know. My thing is though, and I'm gonna come back to this from last week. I don't give a darn if I'm interested in a man and I feel like he is interested in me. Honestly, I don't care if he was married to and divorced to a Caucasian lady. I don't care if he dated one 6 months ago. I know who I am and what I'm bringing to the party. Okay, so if I got to worry about that, and if you got to sit up and micromanage and compare yourself to everybody he's ever dated, what about all the fine black women that he dated that looked 10 times better than you, that had a smaller waist than you, that had bigger chest than you, had a bigger behind than you? I'm not sitting up waiting about that. I'm not sitting up wondering about that. So I think it's very silly when people say, well, did he date? And as somebody pointed out, throughout these recaps, somebody made a very great point. If you're 30 something, guess what? Chances are you've probably dated outside your race. You probably dated 4 or 5 different ethnic groups. So
definitely, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter.
No,
unless you just say that you do not date. I know some guys that say they do not date black women at all. I got a good friend.
And we don't have nothing to talk about. Bye, because I'm black. Yeah. I'm clearly black.
Yeah, I know a guy very successful, and he's Nigerian. So I'm telling you want to check that black thing, you better go check Mr. Trying to Be Perfect Chris over there on who he used to date, because I know those Nigerians that used to. I'm one of my best friends, and we were at a place. A black woman was gorgeous. She was all into him. And I was like, okay, finally, this dude saying he don't date black women, but a monster came up to him now. Now I already know he about to date her. And I see the smile on his face, and he's into her eyes. And I mean, she is gorgeous. And he's highly successful. He's a Nigerian black man. And when she walks away, I said, aha, I got you. Now you into black women now. You like her. I was like, what you think about her? He was like, Ron, she was phenomenal. I said, I knew it. He said, it was only one problem. She was black. And then I talked to her.
Wow. That's mad.
And sometimes in their culture, they're taught the white is, is right. You don't date black American women. You know what I mean? It's a little different, but
that's true.
Yeah, and that's a cultural thing. But I mean, most black men, like I said, that's been on this show, that they're gonna date anything that's pretty.
Well, there's dating and then there's dating with intention. That's all I'm gonna say. And we're gonna move forward. We're gonna move forward. Okay, we're gonna move forward. Guys, we get back to another date, and Snoozeville. Let's kind of run through this real quick. Marvin and Lee go on a date, right? And again, for me, Marvin at this point is really kind of Snoozeville because he's talking about this dominant talk once again. I want to know what else there is about him. I guess we did finally find out that he has a child, which is a daughter, and he must have a son. That's the only thing I really know about him. Lee asked him about his temperament, and he just says all the right things to flatter her. And I say, really, in my notes, I'm about to fall off my couch and fall asleep. This is just too much for me. Anybody else have a different reaction to this date?
No, it was boring to me. It was too much awkward silence. Like they just wasn't much going on. I didn't like it at all. He complimented her. I think he told her she was gorgeous and sweet or something, and it just ended there. There was no response. I was like, boring.
Okay, we can move on with that said. All right, guys, we get to the no, Ryan, we don't need nothing to say. What do you got?
But no. Here's the cringe part of that. If y'all caught both of those days with Marvin, where he kept saying, "Oh yeah," to himself, to like, I think it is a little connection here. So you can't say that. The woman got to say that. I think it's going real good. I think we got a real nice connection. You can't say that. She got to say that. You can't.
Another person who cannot read the room. Okay, all right, whatever. All right, enough with Marvin. Okay, enough with Marvin. The ladies return to the ladies' lounge with uncle, nephew, cousin Tommy. Era says that she likes the sparks between her and Phil, and yes, so did we. Janelle says that she has inquired about the age gap between her and Q or Quentin, and that everything is fine. Kira and Herbert are okay. Jessica and Chris are okay. And then we get the curveball. What is going to happen? We're going to eliminate Uncle Nephew Tommy tells us we're going to eliminate 2 men instead of just 1. But let's rewind. Let's go back. Because during this ladies' lounge, we find out that Kira decides to call Marie Marvin. Janelle gets upset, rolls her eyes. Tommy asks about it, and she says, well, I'm just sick and tired of her always, when somebody calls her out, now she all of a sudden forgets their name. Kira says that Janelle is snarky. What do you guys think about that?
Two different alliances going at it.
Yeah. I love what you said, Ryan, when we get to this question of the levels of whiteness, because Jessica then jumps in, and she's along with Janelle, of course, on her side of the thing, and says that, we know that Kira, she has their various levels of blackness. I personally don't have a problem with that. I don't believe in this thing that some people are talking about. Let's take their black card. And I know, at least I guess it's a joke. Like when some people were saying the other day, just to give you an example, if you don't play spades, if you don't know how to do the electric slide, if you don't know how to play dominoes, if you don't have a cousin named Shaniqua Quadriqua, then you should have. No, I don't believe in that, because as Ron pointed out, Black people come in so many different various social groups, social economic standings, from the poorest of poor to the wealthiest of wealthiest to billionaires. And you're not going to try to lump me in with everybody else. Black people are not monolithic. I'll say that again. Black people are not monolithic.
I don't like the stereotypes. That's weird. Like, because if you ask any Black woman, would you like to go to Greece? That's not a Black thing. I bet they all gonna jump on that. You want to ask them, they want to go to Yacht Week. That's not a Black thing, on a boat with the water. I bet they want to go on that. So Don't.
There you go.
They get real open minded when it's money involved and some stuff. So I don't want to hear it.
Or travel. Yeah. I mean, there are a myriad of things that Black people do. And I think that sometimes we can all, myself included, can get caught up in what we perceive as Blackness being. But I absolutely agree that people like Kira and whomever else, Quentin, anyone else has the absolute right as a human being to pick and choose and to create the life that they desire. I absolutely think that's it. And I don't care if they want to be for pro-Black lives. I don't care if they're Republican. I don't care if they're Democrat. Maybe they don't even vote. I don't know. Okay. But we all have the right to create the life that we want to live. And who is someone else to come along and say, well, oh yeah, turn in your Black card. That's like, that now that's, to me, that's real bullying. That's real bullying. And that's real thinking in a group without thinking for yourself critically. But guys, what did you think about these debates and these arguments that were going on between these grown women?
I expected it because I know that Janelle has previous interactions with Tequila, and also on some of the dates that she's been on, she made some snide comments as well, throwing shade at people. Maybe not to their face, but she's definitely commented. I remember Red picking up Lee, I think it was, after the game that they played on the date, the group date. Mm-hmm. And Janelle was like, oh, now you smell like another woman or something like that. She went on about that. So, yeah, I feel like she is quite prone to fly off the handle when she feels like she has a problem with someone. And that's a problem. But so far, she hasn't done it to the men. It's mainly to the women. And she has made no bones or secret about the fact that she's not there to be friends with the women. She's got her buddy, Jessica, and the rest of them, she'll attack them if necessary. Hopefully we don't get to see her put hands on people like she claims she does.
But that's deep. That's deep to me.
Yeah. But I think her dislike for Kira is based on how she tried to throw shade at Quentin, because Janelle is now connecting with Quentin, and to hear what she said, knowing that Quentin liked her, it flies in the face of what Kira was accusing him of. So
yeah, she went against the alliance. But here's another thing that people want to say either. Kara is an easy target for them too. These women are very aware of who's the stronger arguer, and things of that nature, who to go against. And she got white friends, stuff like that. She's not used to being in that type of environment where she got to argue and fight and win arguments stuff. She cannot beat them two in an argument one-on-one. She's the weakest link on there. They're not going to throw that stuff at that little fitness trainer girl. I forgot her name. Yeah. They're leaving her out of it because she gonna she gonna fight back with a little more argument, a little more sass, and give them a little run, more run for their money. But Kara's easy. Even if she tries to articulate her argument and stuff, she's not gonna have enough aggression there, enough to get it across against these two women. They know they could win and make her look any way they want to, any time they want to. So they're bullying. They're picking on the easy.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's why I say they are bullying, because who is anyone to take someone's black, and I do this in quotation marks there, air quotes, who is anyone to take anyone's card of humanity away from them, basically? Even
with the partnership, Janelle's like, I'm a partner with the other strong arguer women, so, you know what I mean? So I'm not afraid of nobody now. You know what I mean? It's one of those ganged up things. And she picked another strong woman that on the argument set, and then they're going together, and they say, okay, y'all come at. They said at the comment on her Instagram, come against the winning team, and you gonna get lit up. And they're strong when it comes to arguing and going against stuff. The only reason they're strong, they would be strong if they were going against the men. The only reason why they can't go against the men is because they need the men's vote. But that's a
Right.
strong argue team. Now can't nobody make them look dumb because they're strong together. And then any woman that's real strong, like Sierra, like a lead that might be able to argue, but they're gonna leave them alone. But yeah, if you're low hanging fruit, like a Kara, you know what I mean, who's not used to arguing with black women and stuff like that, oh, they're gonna bully you.
Right. Yeah, that's
And
a
let-
good point. You make a very
and-
excellent point.
And let's be fair, it was 2-on-1, so she
Yeah.
didn't stand a chance anyway. It was a
No.
gang up thing, and even though Janelle went off on a tangent by herself afterwards and started saying things like "I don't like you," you know,
Right. And Uncle
pretty-
Nephew Tommy jumped in there with the respect thing, which I
Oh,
was
yeah.
so glad that he did, because that needed to be said. You don't have to like me, but while we're doing this process and we're on a whole national, international TV show, let's just show respect and let's keep the ladies' lounge ladylike.
Mhm.
But we saw what happened with Janelle when she went up against another powerhouse on the internet. It didn't go her way that way. You know what I mean? So back to bullying Kara.
Yeah.
I don't want no beef with that nurse no more.
Oh yeah, she can't handle Katarina, you know. But and this whole thing that she actually drove and pulled up on somebody at their house, like what? Who does that? Oh my gosh!
Was that in an Uber too?
I don't know. Oh, I'm not. You know what, Jay? I'm not with you. I'm not going to with you. But well, you guys tell us in the comments if you're watching the video on replay. We want to know what you feel about this. The ladies going back and forth. They're arguing. They're falling out. I mean, like, how would you have handled it? Who do you think is right? Who do you think is wrong? Are they all wrong? Let me know. Let me know. Drop down in those comments. But we move forward, and so now we get the dates with the the possible elimination dates. And remember now, instead of one guy being eliminated, we've got two guys going home. We find out that it is Marvin who is eliminated, as well as Chris 2.0. Guys, that they might make the right choice. Kimberly, we'll start with you.
I think with Marvin, yes, right choice. I just wanted him to stay around for entertainment purposes only. And like y'all said, that's not the show for this. So Christopher, though, no, I wanted Christopher to stay. What happened? What was wrong?
Great eye candy, I'm telling you. Did I say fine? Because he was fine, okay? All right.
Yes, very well put together. And Christopher also offered good communication, like got great conversation. So I was
he just wasn't gonna buy that $50,000 Birkin bag, and I don't blame him.
Me either. And I think that's just what did it, because she tried to act like it didn't matter. Sierra did. But I think that was really the last straw for her. But now what is she going to do? Is she going to run back to Marie? I just don't know. I don't think they made the right decision with Christopher. But I really can't think of who else they could have sent home for the second person either.
Good point. Ron, were they right for who they sent home, or would you have chosen differently?
I think at this point they sent them home for the storylines. Both of their kind of storylines were kind of Christopher was being played as the eye candy, and they didn't really give much depth in his personality past that. And then they played out the whole sex thing with my man. So they used them for their storylines, and they were done with them. I don't like the Christopher thing, because I'm like, man, you guys did that with Sean in DC. Don't bring no guy on here for down there 2 episodes and use them as the mystery meat or whatever it is, and then send them home. It's a waste of anybody's time going on this show. Most men are gonna be like, I don't want to be the guy coming in late because it's not a good role. I don't want to play that role. You done it twice already. Once they did it with Sean, I was hoping they never do that again. They rinsed and repeated the same thing, and I don't agree with it. I don't like it.
You don't like it?
Yeah, let everybody start together and give everybody a fair shot. Or if somebody's coming in late, give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit, but don't do this. This is the second time we've seen this, and it's I don't like it. As a castmate, I don't like it.
Okay, I see your point. Someone said though, again, I try not to, but this week I actually did watch some of the recaps and enjoyed them quite immensely. Someone said it like, do they sometimes? I don't know, Ryan. You probably would know this better than I do. But do they sometimes have curveballs? Is it ever a thought to you that they invite some of these people on with the intention that they're only going to be on? Maybe these people have busy lives, professional lives, things going on, and they're only going to be on there for a couple, 2, 3 episodes, and that's by choice.
Nah, ain't
'Cause-
nobody doing that. It
okay,
ain't worth it. It ain't worth it for a person. Every man would, if they knew that up front, would deny going. They wouldn't go on the show. It's too much work. It's too busy. All that interviewing, all you got to do the whole. You got to do your psych test. You got to do all this type of
oh
stuff.
right, all the prep that goes into it.
Yeah, I'm not doing all that for 3 episodes and that little bit of money you're gonna make in 2 or 3 episodes just to be on TV for us. It ain't worth it. Really not. I'll tell
Okay,
anybody
I
not
just
to even do it.
I forgot
So
about
they
that
don't they
part.
don't know that they're thinking they're gonna come over there and they're just gonna, you know, they're selling them on, okay, you coming in late, but you gonna be like the new person come in. The showcase of all the attention is gonna be on you when you walk in, and it's gonna give you a better shot, which is really not true. People are
Okay,
already going, they're already on the phone with each other. You're behind really when you come in that way, and they're not doing anything to help you get acquainted with the cast and boost you up. And
right.
it's really gets a waste of time. I don't like that curveball and bringing in people late, and I don't like the double elimination curveball.
Yeah, yeah,
They
that
need to
was.
get those two things. They need to get done. My season, all they did was double elimination. It was double, double, double. It was whack. Like, no, one
Mm,
at a time. Like, we don't need double eliminations. You need to speed it up and then speed it up one at a time. But I don't like the fact that it's all of a sudden two people going home out of nowhere.
mm,
You know what I mean? We're not, as a cast, we're not prepared to pick on that level to send two
okay.
people home, and we don't have enough time to send. You know what I mean? We ain't been dating long enough to be able to send two people home. They didn't get to know that guy that well in that short period of time. It was a bad move. Bad. He had a bad break, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Thank you for that. Can we start with Kimberly and everybody tell us where everybody can find you, your channel, what you're doing, Kimberly? If you go first,
Yes.
please. Okay.
Yes. All right. You can find me, Kimberly Reviews, here on YouTube, covering Ready to Love each Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I also post my travels. I love traveling. I've been to Greece multiple times, Ron, but I've also been to Jamaica a lot of times, and I'm headed to Italy next month. So I do enjoy traveling. So I appreciate the support. You can also see me on Instagram, Kimberly Reviews _, and I'm still on Facebook, Kimberly Reviews.
All right. Follow her on all her socials. And next we have Ron. If you'll go next, we can find you, Ron, on
Yeah, you
Instagram.
can find me on Instagram. I am Ron Freeman. It's the same on my Facebook. I'm gonna try to make it next week. I'll be in Colombia. I've been traveling like crazy last month. That's why I've been kind of not on
Okay.
camera and off and on switch. I just got back from the fight in Vegas last week, Chicago this weekend. I lead to Colombia with all my Detroit homies, my Cast Tech alums and Michigan guys. We do our yearly trip, so we're leaving out Tuesday for the 8 days.
All right.
But I'm gonna try to
Nice.
jump on if we're not doing anything on that part of
Okay.
Sunday. If I can catch what time zone we're in, I think we're in the same time zone,
Okay.
Central. But yep,
Nice.
that's just me.
All right. Nice, nice, nice. And last but certainly not least, Mr. JR, tell us where we can find you and what you got going
You
on.
you can find me on JRX TV on Instagram, JRX TV on IG.
And
Where
Threads.
you can find exercise workouts and clips of what I do in terms of health and fitness. And then you can find me on YouTube on JRX TV again, which is me basically giving my opinion and reviewing TV shows, Ready to Love, Married at First Sight, mainly TV shows that involve Black love, the potential to find Black love, I should say. We ain't liking the Fabrice Part 2, aka Marvin, type of people.
Yeah.
We're actually looking for serious connections to be made on these shows. and you get to hear my take on it and my spin on it, along with some of my colleagues and cohorts that I associate with. So yeah, check me out, and I'm sure you'll find some videos that you'll find interesting.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely check everyone out here. They are very supportive of me, and I also want to support them, and we should support one another. This is very great podcast, and I love these people here. So let's go out and support them. Another way that you guys can support me, I'm actually Aubrey. You can find me here most days. On Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when we do this Ready to Love panel recap. We'll continue to do it throughout the season, all the way up and through the reunion, guys. And we will be back. So catch us on our next video. Can everybody say goodbye?
Yeah,
Take
don't
care.
forget to like, share, and subscribe, people.
Oh, thank you for that. I like it. Bye now. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.